strong?
Well, I'm not trying. I don't know. Whoever beats me to it, the internet's.
All right. So what's going on here is when you scan this secret, you're going to be storing one. You're going to be looking for one of those keys, the ECIS keys, on the Copay server. And Copay will look this up, and we'll go ahead and create a private key for you to join this. There's free money involved.
Is there?
That's the best way to incentivize people, right?
I got incentivized right away. Real was involved. What password involved? For signing up.
Let's see.
Do we need to scan something? Oh, tell us a little more.
You'll go to the left-hand side and you'll say create a wallet and then join an existing wallet, and it'll let you scan this code.
We have to sign in, right?
Yeah, you can create a local profile or a cloud profile. Local will be fine for this case.
How to create a local profile?
How to create a local profile? So when you go to create, it should have the option between cloud and local. Do you see those two things?
Yeah, is your password got to be sufficiently complex?
Yeah, we are. If you're going to store it in the cloud, we do want to make sure your password is sufficiently complex, because when your profile is stored in the cloud, your keys, encryption, sure.
So we need your wallet secret to join your wallet?
To join my wallet, you need this specific wallet secret, correct.
So how can someone on the web join that wallet?
You send them this, so generally you'll send the secret via ECIS or encrypted chat that is secured between the two of you. That's out of band, we consider it. Furthermore, we sort of, just like PGP, we sort of rely on physical security, so when you do key signing, like sequentially, you want to make sure that you're in person with the person. So when you create a wallet on mobile, scan my phone, we're in the same physical place, right? You can, of course, share the secret out of band, but it's up to you to protect that. Okay, great. Whoever just joined, thank you. Fantastic. Awesome. All right, so we now have a 2 of 3 multi-sig wallet. I'm going to go ahead and deposit some money here into this particular wallet. And if those of you who have joined would be so kind as to stay on, hold on with me, I will deposit some money and create a transaction proposal. All right, I'm going to put $5 in this thing. So you'll see that I just received those funds. I just sent and broadcast directly from my phone a different wallet. You'll notice that we now have a balance of approximately $4.99, so 20,000 some odd bits. All right, so let's see if I can. Does anybody have a particular charity they want me to donate to? Maybe somebody who accepts Bitcoin. We can send this $5 off to them.
Kiva?
What's that?
Kiva?
Kiva? Do they accept Bitcoin?
Sorry? What? Does Kiva accept Bitcoin?
Kiva should accept Bitcoin.
I do not believe they accept Bitcoin.
EFF, do they have a Bitcoin address?
That's why you're here, right?
Yeah, look at Kiva. Oh, so.
All right, let's see. I love the EFF, so let's figure out how to donate on here. All right, I'm gonna give them like $4.75, so I'll leave a little bit on the account. Pay with Bitcoin. Oh man, they really want me to. Yeah. John Galt. Let's see.
You have to give a shipping address?
This is under control.
Shipping address.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Is there a Wikipedia address?
Just scroll down, it might just have the wallet or the address right below.
Yeah, I know they don't because they have to go through compliance. So anytime they receive a donation, they have to collect information. It's really obnoxious, but all right, that's probably good enough. Must donate at least $5. Oh, great. Great. All right, there we go. Let's see if we can send some money here. Coincidentally, I'm pretty sure that this is going to be with BitPay. Yep. If it'll load. All right, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to, actually, I should be able to click this link because I have Payment Protocol and Copay installed on my computer. So rather than copying and pasting, Bitcoin addresses and amounts, I'm going to just go ahead and try this. And yeah, cool, it worked. So we do have there's no sessions in Copay, so I have to sign in again. This is where Payment Protocol comes into play. Payment Protocol has just told Copay that BitPay is requesting the funds and the exact amount of funds that are being requested. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and select the Blockchain U personal test, and that should have filled that out. Maybe we have a bug.
$4.99 in that wallet.
Yeah, it might be that we only have a certain amount here. Let me see. I'll just copy it for temporary purposes. I'm willing to bet that it is because I don't have enough money. Yeah, it's slightly. Yeah, so we're slightly under. But I'm going to make that proposal anyways. Oh, insufficient funds because. All right, so you guys who are a member of that wallet should now have received in your app a proposal to spend. Okay, so really the first person who goes and signs it is going to actually broadcast the transaction, or both of you could reject it and prevent this donation to the IFF from going through. Well, looks like someone signed it and it has been broadcast. If you go over here, this is BitPay dealing with a payment exception because we didn't pay enough, and I will go ahead and pay that off with my phone.
These are expensive demos.
Hey, it's to a good cause, right? So this is the payment protocol. I don't know how many of you can see, but it just fetched the SSL certificate from BitPay, verified it, and loaded it in. I cannot change the amount here. Let's see. Actually, I do want to, but send it, and that should be paid.
What happens if you underpay?
So underpay, BitPay, yeah, exactly. So what I've just done is I just totally have overpaid this. I paid basically like $9.80 for this invoice. Payment Protocol has already supplied BitPay with a refund address, so they're going to automatically send me my money back. BitPay will. Overpayments work in that capacity. Underpayments work just like you saw prior, where it's like, hey, you paid up to this amount, probably because I wasn't using Payment Protocol. You now owe this balance. You still have 15 minutes to make that balance, or whatever the remainder of the 15 minutes is. After which time the invoice will expire and your original payment will be sent back to you. This does differ from merchant to merchant. They handle refunds differently, but by and large it's mostly automated. So
So if you wanted to have your own wallet implementation, how would you, just high level, how would you implement it?
So Payment Protocol requires an SSL certificate. I believe it requires an SSL certificate. You're on the server. You're going to need a web server. So in the URL that you normally would scan in a QR code, you simply add the URL parameter to that Bitcoin address using the ampersand Bitcoin URL, and then specify the URL of your server. The server will see a specific header from your wallet will recognize that pattern and will subsequently send an outbound HTTP request to the server. It will include specific headers that say that I accept at Bitcoin/payment protocol request. The server will then respond with a protobuf encoded version of the payment request, along with the signature generated by the SSL certificate. The wallet will then receive that response from its original request, and then will be able to populate its own payment details from that. At that point, I believe there's one extra round trip to specify what my refund address is, so once I make that payment, it actually gets sent to the URL, and the URL, I get to specify what my refund address is, among other things. So
for the user, they just need to have something, some sort of browser
or it's baked into the wallet, right? So on Android, it's really easy because Bitcoin J, the wallet already supports payment protocol. If you're going to do it from the browser, you need to either A, have a native Bitcoin wallet installed that with the registered URL handler, right? Or an extension or a website that has registered itself as a URL handler. So I know Circle does this, Copay does this. Several of the major Bitcoin online wallets do this. Copay is kind of tough. If you go into your web browser, there's like a little thing in your address bar in Chrome. You have to click it, and it'll say, do you want to allow this to register a URL handler? If so, yes. Then that web page just becomes a URL handler for you. So the UIs for URL handlers aren't great just yet, but they're getting better. So
but theoretically, I could buy with Bitcoin on www.awesomeshoes.com.
Yep.
And send a message to my phone.
So it won't send a message to your phone. You can click the button on your phone, and it will launch the intent to receive a Bitcoin payment, which will then launch a wallet, which will then launch the payment protocol. However, going from desktop to your phone is a little more difficult. Use NFC, Bluetooth, or heaven forbid QR code scanning.
Yep.
So. All right, that's pretty much the extent of it. I do want to remind everyone that both Copay, Insight, Bitcore, all of these things are open source. We're in talks with a number of online wallet providers who are basically starting to use Copay for their back-end data stores. We use it for our corporate funds, our corporate treasury, so we know that it's secure, we know that it works, and we know that it works well. We would love to see more people building on top of Copay, literally just taking this Angular interface we've got, maybe even throwing that away, using Bitcore server, building their own interface on top of it. Right? You can consider this Copay, now that we've got it to this stage and we're starting to break it apart into isolated components, this is the reference client for what we believe multi-sig should be. That doesn't mean that this is going to be the best, right? In fact, we rely very heavily on the open source community to go out and create competing products using hopefully the same stack, parts of it, or at least gleaning from that knowledge. And altogether, we will make the overall crypto ecosystem that much stronger. So, question in the back.
So how do we get started building on Copay?
Go to github.com/bitpay/copay. There is a quick start guide that basically includes npm install and bower install, and that will get you up and running immediately with a locally running version of Copay. That's pretty much it.
And it just uses Bitcore IO on the back end, or?
So Bitcore is a client-side library in that there is no web server that runs there. You literally download the code that we've produced and you run it locally. So there's no web server needed. Copay is built with Bitcore in that we use all of its transaction classes. We use the peer-to-peer class, etc.
And do you guys have a REST API, or is it you use these JavaScript libraries and they somehow?
So both Insight and Copay have REST APIs when you run them locally. We also coincidentally offer test endpoints that you can hit on our servers. However, we're probably not going to be maintaining those long term. We want to really encourage people to spin up their own copies of Insight, Copay, Bitcore server, etc. What we're trying to do here is if you can talk about Foxtrot and some of these other things that we're working on, we want to see a complete elimination of the need for trust. We want to see truly decentralized networks, right? We don't want to be the centralized provider of an API to get UTXOs. What we do want to be is enhancing the overall ecosystem and making sure so that there are hundreds or thousands of them out there, right? So that the network overall becomes much more resilient. You had a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Is this also limited to 15? I was just thinking in a curriculum. Okay. And the other question is there any plans to put, I don't know, an add data button?
That's a great idea, actually. So first of all, the 15, to address your first question, there is a limitation in Copay. What he's asking about is that there are, when you go to create a multi-signature wallet, looks like you can only go up to 15, and even at that, it only lets you do, I think, like 1 of 15 or 2 of 15. So this is a limitation of the actual Bitcoin protocol, in that constructing this signature, this output, it would exceed the maximum allowed size once you get up to a certain point. So you can do reliably 1 of 15. I think you can actually do like 6 of 15, but depending on the keys used, sometimes it's viable, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's too big, sometimes it's not. Because keys can be of varying lengths, right? So what we've done is we've limited it down to the safe cases, which is 1 of 15, 2 of 13, and so on. I think 6 of 6 is like the highest maximum you can go. You can go to like 2 of 10, I think, as well. So there's a number of different opportunities. Now, what I would recommend is not to rely exclusively on a single multi-signature wallet for all of your uses, where you got like a 1 of 12 or 1 of 15. Spread it out, have very specific targeted cases. Most of those cases you're going to run into are going to be 2 of 3s, where you have 2-factor auth plus a backup key, 3 of 5, which might be useful for a corporate board or a department even, or a 1 of 3 or 2 of 3 is useful for a department and an organization. These are the types of patterns that we're starting to see, and we're open to a lot of feedback based on your use cases. Question?
Yeah, regarding this, we talked about cold storage and multi-sig. This works well with when you have manual to sign, like 2-party and 3-party. How do you automate that?
Yep. So automation is going to be provided through a tool called Copay Agent. This is currently in active development. And it is basically going to be an API for your application to bind on top of to tell the agent, hey, yes, I confirm this signature. And the security of that process is going to be exclusively up to your application and its stack, but Copay Agent will be that relayer between all of basically the users inside of your stack.
Do you think we'll solve the problem with security in terms of, well, that's still the vulnerable point?
The fundamental issue, and this is, you'll notice that pretty much every issue in Bitcoin and in all of these crypto things is the security of your key, right? You lose your key, you lose the ability to sign reliably or assert that you are this person, because now that key is available elsewhere. Bitcoin itself, I like to think of the value it's not that the Bitcoin are valuable. It is that the private keys are scarce. The specific private key to move a specific value in the blockchain is scarce, in that ideally there is only one copy of that private key somewhere. And that is what creates the value in Bitcoin. Furthermore, that makes it so that once a private key has been compromised, it basically has to be moved to a new private address because it's been compromised, right? It's burned. So multi-sig offers a bridge, something that mitigates the risk of losing one private key. Okay, that's about as good as it's going to get until we truly develop like an end-to-end identity solution that is not centralized. And whether that's Web of Trust, whether that's something like Keyhoti from BitShares, or something like Namecoin for identity assertion, it's still an open question, because how do you actually verify the physical identity of someone without going to a third party and a trusted entity? It is a very difficult problem, one that I believe will be solved at some point, But until that point, the best thing that we have is multi-sig. One of the things that we'd like to see is a significant percentage of multi-signature wallets in the Bitcoin ecosystem move to multi-sig, because we believe it to be the best thing that we can do today. Question?
So you said that if you wanted to start building on top of Copay, you have to go to GitHub, download npm, and then what? Do you press the fork button?
You don't have to press the fork button. In fact, you can just git clone, that's the first step, npm install, which will install all the requisite packages, and I believe that's actually the last step for the initial just local working copy. Yes, the GitHub flow is something that we use, so if you want to start contributing back to our open source projects, fork, clone your fork, add ours as your upstream, right, and go ahead and start working on a feature branch locally, and then submit a pull request if you feel that your changes are something that could be used to the overall community's benefit. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. So.
The other Go implementation?
So, Go implementation? We're largely focused on JavaScript. Go is not as portable as we would like it to be, and it also, right now the talent pool isn't as large as we would have liked. I mean, you got to understand, we started, in 2011. We wanted to make sure that we could grow quickly, and JavaScript has treated us extremely well up to this point. In fact, JavaScript I like to call like the PHP of languages, in that it makes it really easy to do a lot of things, but it also makes it really easy to do a lot of things really badly. Good JavaScript is awesome. It's amazing. It is powerful, it is flexible, it's easy to understand, it's fast. It is also very easy to write bad JavaScript. So it does require a degree of discipline. Of course, all of the standard programming practices like adequate test coverage, behavior-driven development or test-driven development, good things like JSLint help, making sure that your cyclomatic code complexity doesn't get too large. Callback hell is a bitch, excuse my language, but it really sucks. There's a couple ways of managing that. Of course, you've got promises. Our favorite in-house is actually the async library. All in all, JavaScript has treated us really well. There's no plans at this time to sort of move into other languages, just because it's working really well for us. So I'm here on the Copay page. This is actually my version. These are the only steps necessary. You clone it, npm install a couple of tools, you build it, which downloads all of the requisite requirements via for client side is Bower, npm is server side. Grunt prod will go ahead and build all of your production stuff, and npm start will start it up. You'll now have a fully working copy of port 3000. We've been through this, I've probably been through this myself over 100 times. We're pretty confident in how smooth this is now, so it should get you off to the races really quickly, and if not, I'll be around for the next couple of weeks, so feel free to ask me.
Here?
Yes?
Oh, wow.